What's up, Aries? 2026 full year astrology forecast. And let's get started, Aries. I just want to say that 2026, I really am finally monetizing my YouTube channel and making my dreams real. So if you can share this video, like, comment, and subscribe, that will be great and fantastic for me. And I will be indebted to you, Aries. And you can keep up with the horoscopes that I'll be doing for the year of 2026. But let's get started. It's such a full year of stuff ahead, right? But we want to start off at the beginning of the year with January. Okay, so January 2026, Neptune is going to re-enter into your sign. And Saturn is going to be in your sign as well. But let me just slow down, right? Let me start with Neptune. Neptune is going to be entering your first house of yourself, of expression, of your vision in this world, of the way that you are developing. And your vision becomes, even the way that you see the world and perceive the world becomes infused with this spiritual and intuitive energy that Neptune brings in your sign. And you're going to feel more empathetic. You're going to feel like a visionary. You're going to feel very dreamy in how you're approaching yourself and your life path, and even how you look on the outside. Like everything truly is seen beyond the veil when Neptune is entering into your first house. You know, as Neptune is moving through your first house, you're going to cultivate these abilities or activate these abilities within yourself and your identity, the coreness of who you are. And this really gets you to focus on aligning your intuition with reality. I think that you need to take this time. Neptune is going to be in your sign for 14 years. Let's just say that. But through January, the biggest thing going on is the Neptune entering into your sign. So take this time to really reflect on your goals, just because it's going to be at a very early degree, which is 0. So this is definitely like a fresh start, right? And you want to focus on your creative expression. You want to focus on your long-term intentions, even spiritual practices. You want to focus on anything that helps you connect with yourself, meditation, journaling, any like psychic abilities, anything that you are involved in and that helps you feel more connected to the divine, to the universe. This is what you really want to do. It's going to help you clarify what direction truly resonates with your inner self. Let's move on to February. So February 2026, Saturn is going to enter into your sign of Aries within the first house. This is not, February 13th to be exact, but this is not something that is light. Saturn is truly life-changing. And I'm someone who can speak on that because I've been through my Saturn return and I'm still having the effects of Saturn being in near my first house, just because I'm a late degree Pisces rising. But this is something that is life altering. It's challenging. It's revealing. It's something that you could have never expected, but you coming out on the other side really is going to sharpen your focus in this world. And you have to understand what Saturn's mission is. It's trying to teach you true self-mastery, true self-discipline, and boundaries. Nobody should really be effing with you. And what I mean by that is, like, you should not let people take advantage of you. And with Neptune in the first house, that's very easily said and done, because you see everything in such a mystic light. And now, like, you're now welcoming all these different sources of energies. And so Saturn is here to make these things serious and tangible. If you want dreams and you have dreams, go after it. If people aren't showing you they deserve to be in your life, you have to cut them off and set boundaries. This is teaching you personal responsibility, Aries. It's teaching you about long-term planning. It's teaching you about your image, and your sense of authority. And these things just become more prominent and serious within you, especially with Saturn there. So take advantage of that and make your dreams a reality. You're going to have in February a solar eclipse in your 11th house in Aquarius. And we're talking about a solar eclipse in the sign of like collective consciousness, friendships, groups, your biggest dreams, and your social networks. So they're gonna be like, expect opportunities in that forefront with like networking with people, expanding your purpose, expanding your influence with your purpose. Solar eclipses are, even eclipse season, are meant to jerk you into your life path on what you're supposed to be doing in this world. you know and with the Saturn, let's just move to the next one. On February 20th, Saturn is going to conjunct Neptune at 0 degree in your sign, in your first house. You really have to ground your dreams into reality. It's like any illusions about yourself, any type of self-sacrificing tendencies you have, any patterns that you have, it's telling you, Saturn is here, telling you, here's your fresh start. It really does feel like you're starting fresh with nothing, and that anything is possible, because it is. So you have to truly ground yourself in your reality, in your goals, in who you are as a person. And even your capabilities are being exposed now. Your task is really to integrate these practical steps with your vision, with your purpose. In March, there's going to be a lunar eclipse in Virgo. And so this has to do with your sixth house, Aries, and productivity. You're letting go of what habits and work tendencies. You're changing your whole work ethic. And because Saturn is in your sign and Neptune is in your sign, you're now starting to see that you need to integrate more daily responsibilities that have to do with the self. And I'm not just talking about exercising and all the things, healthy. No, it's these spiritual matters that you must infuse in your day-to-day activity. Excuse me. And it's really time for you to like release these ineffective projects, habits, things that don't work for you. It's okay to work out, but are we working on a conscious mind? Are you working with your breath? Are you working with your voice, your sound? Do you know how you sound? Like, do you know how it's like, just not it sounds, but like the vibrations of your voice? Like, do you like them? There's so many things that you do. Do you understand the way that you think, your mental capability, your mental patterns? You are really paying attention to, this self-pity, or even this nitpicking at the self. You have to let these things go in order to mature, as Saturn wants you to mature over in your first house. So we're going to have in March, there's also Saturn sextiling Pluto. Saturn is in your sign. So here is a supportive aspect for personal transformation. This is a transformation that is you're welcoming. You are strategically planning something. You are empowered to work with like different dynamics and collective initiatives, like initiatives initiatives, right? You are now open to a more transformative way to see yourself, to see others. And it's really a practical form of moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Even if it means letting things go, you are willing to do these things. And so April 2026, Uranus is going to be entering into Gemini. And so the Uranus is bringing these sudden changes, these insights. Remember, Uranus is going to be in this sign for about 7 years. And so you can expect the unexpected with Uranus, but in the mind, you can expect it because Gemini is your third house, and these sudden insights. And it's like you have a lot of electrical charges within your brain. And this can heighten your communication. This can heighten your short-term travel. Like, you just go places, on trains and buses. And maybe if you're on social media, you can also engage in like what is that thing called, like AI, or anything that is real intelligence. AI is not real intelligence, Aries, but what I'm saying is like anything that's like further out in the future, that's useful in the future, but people aren't aware of it now. Your brain is thinking like that, like very futuristic. And it's very creative too with Uranus. And there's just, you can learn so many different languages and different things. There's just a lot. Like, just prepare for surprising information and these ideas that really disrupt your routine. Being flexible within your mind, this energy is going to favor a lot of breakthroughs in thinking and your creativity and forward movement and thinking. Even conversations are going to be life changing during the next 7 years. You're going to be speaking about things into people that you never thought that you would actually be speaking or thinking of. And let's move to May 2026. Pluto is going to retrograde into Aquarius. And this causes for deep reflection on values and, dreams and the things that you're headed towards, your long-term visions. Like, of course, you want to speak truth. You want to gather, there can be a time where there's friendships that you have, they're lying to you, or they aren't being as honest as they can. And you are now trying to wield the power of, well, the next couple of years, you're going to be trying to wield the power of like aligning like your ideas with tangible results and rewards. And so this is really about, emotional patterns, that are trying to call for a revolution. Excuse me, any financial or things that you're trying to get into, Aries. There's a more serious outlook on this, but when Pluto is in retrograde, it's almost like you're rethinking what works for you and what doesn't. But it really causes for a lot of deep reflection. It definitely depends upon your chart and what aspects and things of that Pluto is making. And Pluto is also going to be opposite Jupiter. And so that really, plays a huge part with, more time in the year. In July, I'm going to get to that, but it really does just play a part in, what you want and what other people want. What's your truth and what's the truth of other people. And you're gonna have to really dig deep, and that's when the maturity is gonna come in for you, Aries. And so when we think about the month of June 2026, Uranus is going to square the North Node. And these can be unexpected changes in, I would say, the subconscious. And because it's squaring the North Node, like these are things that are very uncomfortable. These can have to do with like your personal anatomy. You're really looking at new ways to relate to others. And this is trying to push you forward towards personal growth, but it's not always easy just because there's so many things to be in this world. Like you're going to see that with Neptune and your sign, but there's just so many things to be in this world. And, during this time, like Uranus is bringing so many sudden things to your mind, and it's honestly kind of hard to catch up with it. Neptune's in your sign, you're going to be able to catch up with it, but it's almost very ethereal that you have to take the time to really let some things go in order to see it clearly. So many signs and signals will come to you, but if you're not paying attention, it's very hard to get the message. And so you have to open yourself up. There's going to be a Mercury retrograde in June as well, and it's going to be in Cancer. And so of course, this has to do with home, communicating with people at home, and your foundation when it comes to your emotional capacity. Mercury retrogrades are very annoying time for everyone, for a lot of people. And so you just want to be mindful of the things you say, the things you're doing, when it comes to family members. And Mercury doesn't really do well in Cancer. It can bring up arguments. It can bring up, but like these emotional arguments where you're not actually trying to argue, you're just trying to get things across, and also rethinking and trying to move and trying to just trying to rearrange things. So, during June, spend your time going towards personal growth instead of trying to understand what's going on in the home so much, or what's going on in your environment. Spend time trying to understand your truest and like core self, and the emotional, like how you react to certain things, at certain times. So July 2026, Neptune is going to go retrograde, and this is you reassessing your dreams, right? This is you reassessing, you know, your spiritual direction, you know, your self-image, and clarity really comes when you are aligning to your authentic path. And because Neptune is in this your sign for the next 14 years and making aspects all during that time, give yourself grace to really explore the spiritual realm. And this is something that is inside you that reflects outward. Like, give yourself time. There's going to be in July to a Jupiter opposition to Pluto, and I think this one is going to be pretty big, just because Jupiter is a sign of expansion and Pluto is a sign of truth. And them being in opposition, there's tension between like personal creativity and personal expression and personal joy and romance. And, uh, you know, with, this being your natal, Jupiter's going to go into. Like with Jupiter's in Cancer, but it's gonna go into Leo. And with that opposition, Leo and Aquarius, it's like, what do I want and what does the world want? There is a halt, like, on what you want, kind of, and you're like pressured into certain groups dynamics. And transformation really occurs when you're not navigating these power dynamics. But it's such powerful power dynamics that it may amplify. It's either one way or the other way, but you're not going to really see it like that. It's going to get you uncomfortable and to grow in some type of way. And so the North Node is going to shift into Aquarius, and so in July as well. And so these are destiny shifts, because Aquarius is your 11th house. I mean, yes, your Aquarius is your 11th house, Aries. You are going to meet a lot of powerful people with the North Node up there. The North Node actually likes Aquarius, and Rahu in the 12th, Rahu in the 11th brings a lot of like goals to the forefront. You're very goal driven. You're very like, let me talk to these people, social networks. You want to really have these Vedic and karmic connections, and these relationships will appear. Like, they're powerful people that will come into your life and that will show you something other than what you have been seeing, and wanting to connect with you, and helping you reach your dreams in some type of way, Aries. Okay. And so moving to August 2026, there is going to be a lunar eclipse in Aries as well. And so this lunar eclipses bring up emotional safety, and they also bring up letting go as well. And the lunar eclipse in your 11th can really get you to have these breakthroughs when it comes to social networking. Like I said, you can meet someone who really switches your way of seeing something, revelations about group dynamics. You can gain some type of allies, that can even surface for you as well, Aries. You're going to have a solar eclipse in Virgo in August as well. And so this is new beginnings that have to do with health, that have to do with your mental mind. Like I said, the nitpicking. And the solar eclipse is really giving you this chance, or this new outlook on seeing your day-to-day activities, giving yourself more grace and more understanding on what you're doing in the day, and I think that this is very much needed, because it gives you time to reflect on your personal passion and even your self-expression. Like, how are you giving that out on a day-to-day basis? Like, is it coming back to you, Aries? You want to be mindful that not everything is going to come back, especially with Saturn in your sign. But when a solar eclipse is happening, you will be able to see very clearly what is working and what is not working. And it's up to you truly to make those type of little tweaks in your day-to-day activity. In September 2026, there's going to be Uranus is going retrograde, but of course, it's like you're still having the effects from the eclipses. So it's like Uranus going into retrograde in your third house. And you're having the Pluto and Jupiter and Pluto opposition. Like, you're still having and learning the effects of that, learn lessons from the eclipses and reflecting from the Jupiter and Pluto opposition. Even, you're becoming more aware of these conscious alignments or disalignments. And that's really what September is about. Let's move to October. So October, in early October, we're going to have a Venus retrograde in Scorpio and Libra. And so, this Venus retrograde in your eighth house, it's really going to be powerful. And I think that it's so powerful that you might break down. And I think that you're going to break down your trust issues. You're going to break down your manipulation issues. Your psychological mind is going to change and adjust when it comes to relationships. Because Venus and Scorpio can be very obsessive, very, like it's wants to merge with the next person. And so these intimate connections, they become so revealing when Venus is in there. It's like things start to really come to light. Is this person even worth my time? Are these people worth my time? Even when it comes to finances as well, these issues can resurface. You want to review your emotional bonds and any type of unresolved business that you have with the next person, because things can come up from the past. Even people that have hurt you can come up from the past. Venus and Scorpio, we never really know what to expect because this is such a mysterious type of energy. It really does depend on your chart and the aspects that it makes. And even Mercury is going to be retrograde as well in Scorpio, and so that plays a part in the communication aspect. There can be issues when it comes to partnerships, and these aren't, well, the eighth house is intimacy, right? It is sexual intimacy, so it does have to do with another person. But even in agreements and contracts, these are going to require for you to pay very close attention, and misunderstandings are very likely, but you have to approach things with a more patient outlook and a more understanding outlook. Like, be more vulnerable during this time. November 2026, the Mercury retrograde is going to end, and it's going to bring you a lot of clarity, wanting to work with the next person. Now you're willing to compromise in some type of way, but not at the expense of yourself, Aries, but at the expense of the unionship. If it's worth it, you will work on it, if that makes sense. It does make sense. I don't know why I keep saying if it makes sense, but there's definitely forward momentum when it comes to relationships and partnerships, and even certain debts and financial entanglements that you're in. You'll start to see things clear. And Venus in the eighth house can bring good fortune. You did something well, and now you are financially paid for it. And also in November, Uranus is going to trine Pluto. And so this can bring like this smooth integration when it comes to like personal transformation and social evolution. I think there's a lot of empowerment when it comes to opportunities. These are going to flow naturally, and it may be very unexpected. You may not be expecting to meet people, to see people, to think things, to be in these conversations, to be friends. Like, these people are my friends, or these people are, associated with me. There's collaborations that will happen for you, and it's not even that you're not worthy of it, but it's like, if you're really working towards it, you're going to see these surprises, and they're going to be good surprises, and these are truly powerful times for you. And so let's move to December. Mercury is going to, excuse me, not Mercury, Saturn is going to retrograde, or Saturn is ending into retrograde in your first house. And so there's going to be lessons that are learned about personal responsibility. When Saturn is in retrograde, please don't step back from your responsibility. Although Saturn does like release the pressure that it puts on you, he still wants you to work. And like, this is a masculine force that really still wants you to put in the work in order to see results. So the more work that you put in, on yourself and on your discipline and self-discipline, like keeping yourself disciplined during the retrograde, the more you're going to see the efforts bear fruit. Neptune is going to end its retrograde in December as well, and spiritual clarity returns. Like the veil is very thin during this time, but you can differentiate between the physical and the spiritual, and you can have visions on stepping into like your perfect power, your personal power, and your truest identity. Like, these things really come from self reinvention and clarity, and it comes from grounding your personal vision. There's just a lot of new beginnings for you, and that's good. That's ending off the year, Aries. There's a lot of new beginnings for you, but please be mindful that you are aligning your inner guidance and intuition with practical self-expression. Of course, you're going to have these intensifying deep personal and financial transformations, but this is all actually for your highest good. And it may seem like a setback. We're not gonna like not I'm not gonna lie to you. It may seem like a setback, but these are really trying to bring you into better faded connections. That makes sense. So if something leaves, you just know that you can get something even more and long lasting. Okay, so yes, that is all I have for you, Aries, for the year of 2026. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and don't forget to share my video and help me monetize my channel. I will be so grateful and happy. So thank you, Aries. I'll see you guys in the next video. Good luck. Bye.